Good morning, and happy hump day. I've been in here chatting this morning. I did miss Connie because I stepped away from the computer and I came back and Connie said, I wondered what I did. Nothing, I just wasn't around. Hello, Slim. Hello, Dolores. Just me. Who did I miss? I said hi to Fun to Ski. We have a very important birthday today. Sarah Adams' birthday is today. We're going to tell her happy birthday. Hello, Sonia. Hello, Sarah. Evil CJ, thank you for all your hard work too. I've been really enjoying your coverage of this case. Evil CJ has a channel and I really, they get down pretty much like we do. It's funny, it's sarcastic, intelligent comments, no drama. So go check it out. He has a great channel. Good morning, Elmer. Good morning, Sugar Mama. I'm getting all tongue-tied. Miracle Lee has made it in. I'm glad you're back. Snazzy, wild hair. So let's get to it. First and foremost, let's tell Sarah happy birthday. Happy birthday, my friend. I hope it is the best birthday ever. Also get your umbrellas because it's raining bacon and it's raining memberships. Carol came busting in with a purpose. Also, our friend Shonda, she is getting ready to go into surgery. It's she's going to be okay, but I want to send her some well wishes from all of us. We love you, Shonda. It's going to be good. And just remember, you'll never have to worry about wearing white ever again. You're going to love it. Welcome to my club. Next club you're going to be in, you're never going to shop at Walmart and you're going to put your Christmas tree up in August, but we'll get to that later. All right, let's get down to business. Wow. A lot is rocking and rolling in Henrietta. News Daddy himself was poking around the Tulsa area yesterday. I don't know why he didn't knock on my door. Me and OJ were making Mexican lasagna. He could have helped us. I would have answered the door. A lot going on. Why didn't News Daddy come knock on my door? I know in the Idaho case, people were jumping on my ass going, because I said the owner of the Mad Greek probably was sick of News Daddy looking through her damn windows. And they said, he would never do that. Hell, he didn't. Britt said Tulsa is busy. Yeah, it is. It's a very pretty day today here in Tulsa. It's just muggy, not a cloud in the sky. Kim said, love you, OJ and chat. OJ loves you too. OJ's getting ready to have some more bacon here in a second. Yeah, what the hell to do? I was home all day long. Shonda said, we'd love to have him on panel. You better believe it. Good morning, Muscles. Hello, Michelle from the UK. My goodness. Now, his spray tan, I notice, is wearing off a little bit, but beige is beige, man. Beige Field has got it going on. She better not do another... I would give it a couple weeks. She's going to wind up turning orange. So she's going to have to lay off a little bit. But I get it. We're coming into June. Believe it or not, we're halfway through the month of May. Got to get that summer glow going. You know it. Y'all's daughter said he is cute. Sharon had tornadoes in North Carolina last night. Damn, keep them there. I was talking to Where's Summer this morning. They've had so many in Alabama. I said, I guess Oklahoma decided to pass the crown. Other states are getting it. Good morning to Boston moms. Good morning. Kim, your birthday was yesterday? Well, happy birthday to Kim as well. Also, I see some new names in here. Let's take a second and tell everybody hi. You know, Baptist church style. Shake hands with your neighbor. Let's welcome all our new members. So good to see everybody. Ava said, shakes it. What are you shaking, Ava? What are you shaking? Let's not get too friendly with our neighbors. They'll be accusing you of being like Jesse. Lisa said, hello, old and new friends. Hello, hello. So glad to have everybody here. Britt is making me feel bad about myself. She said, I'm jogging on the treadmill at the hotel. I'll be listening mostly. Like you need to get any prettier, Britt. My God. What are you going to do next? Come in and tell everybody your boobs got bigger? Goodness. So anyway, I hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. And what to make of this insanity in Troy Aikman's hometown of Henrietta, Oklahoma? My God, it can't get crazier. Sarah Adams says the landlord. Well, we called it out weeks ago. We said there's something up with the landlord. Guess what? There is. There is 100%. 100%. You see, you don't just rent to a dude like Jesse unless you're down with what he's got going on. And we know what he's got going on. This came across my phone. Missing, endangered, Ivy Webster and Brittany Brewer. It said emergency alert extreme. I told you guys on the first show we did about this. I've never seen this alert before. So for Oklahoma to say something's extreme, they only talk about storms and heat when they say something's extreme. Umbrella time. Diana just gifted 10 Crime Lines and Lines memberships. Woohoo. Pile in, because we have a members live coming up for all the May babies, all the May birthdays. We had a great time on the last members live. We've got more trivia coming up too. By the way, those of you that won your prizes, you should be getting them any day now. They were mailed out on Saturday. I know Extra AF got hers on Monday. So they should be hitting the mailboxes any second. So this came across my phone and I was like, extreme. When I see this on my phone, it means heat or tornado. I'd never seen this before. But there was more to come. Of course, 7 dead bodies, one being Jesse McFadden's, one being his wife, Holly, who I believe was very much complicit in this. I know we're catching some hate on some other channels for that, but that's okay. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. That's just how I see it. More things came out of the house. Here you go. Look at that. What a lovely Valentine's Day gift. Jesse geared up for Holly and her kids. Sarah said, complicit and right. We see it as we see it. I'm sure this was a Mother's Day gift for Holly. Nothing to see here, right? Hello, that girl, James. This is behind Tiffany's bed. Nothing to see here, right? And if that wasn't enough, we know Holly felt this. So you can't tell me she was oblivious to all this. So be careful where you step out there, because I'm very well aware I'm getting some hate for the things I'm saying about Holly. I am not disrespecting the dead. I just don't believe for a minute she wasn't in on this. She's a pervert too. She's a pervert too. Elaine said, hard to miss that thing. No doubt. I can feel it from here. I can feel it from here, my friend. Let's get to the comments from the last show, and then we're going to get to business. Hello, Extra AF. New Grandma Extra AF just came in, and one of our prize winners from Friday. Nucky said, I searched the Pittsburgh County tax assessor. The name McFadden, there is no property in Jesse's name or Cody's name. There is multiple properties in the county under different relative names, including their mother, Ladonna. What do you know? What do you know? Seems to me that Mama McFadden was probably about as damn sick as Holly, because she knew it. When I first started talking about this case, just me, who I've always wondered if she has a crystal ball, said, look at the mama. Jesse's mom, Sarah. Sorry. Let me be more clear. Ladonna is Jesse and Cody's mom. You bet. Thank you for finding that, Nucky. She's not in here right now. She'll catch it later. That Ellen said, great show, Brooks. Thank you, Ellen. She said, I was listening as I drove to Texarkana. I wondered if you ever mentioned the BS in McCurtain County, and LOL, behold, you did. My husband grew up about 10 miles from Tom, Oklahoma. We go to Idabel periodically to gamble when we're visiting his family and need to leave Caden. I do agree the OSBI has more important things to work on now. I cringe when people say Oklahoma 7. I used to think, no, it should be 6, but now I say it's the Oklahoma 5, because Holly knew. I think Holly made a pact with him. Brenda says that home, and especially that room, and we're going to look at it again, with the chair, seems like he was live streaming content. And maybe pay by view. What was going on there was grotesque and scary. Terry Fisher says, why are we not calling out the mom? She was aware. I don't know what channel Terry's been listening to, but on this show, we've been calling Holly out. Running Buck says, it baffles me that some people somehow want to excuse Holly's complicity in this sickness. Women throughout history have been SA perps, killers, torturers, murderers. Look up Elizabeth Bathory, for instance. Mothers have been turning their heads to their husbands' bent perverseness throughout history. Even a blind eye when it's happening to their very own children. Women are capable of horrible acts rivaling any man. 100%. You got that right. You got that right. Just because Holly went down that day too doesn't mean she didn't know what he was up to. Again, I hit the wrong button. Again, you know, at some point you're going to stub your toe on this. How are you going to ignore this? Just Me says you can't miss chains on the counters and dongs sitting in plain sight. Now, according to Holly's mom, Jeanette Mayo, who I'm sure is a very nice lady, she put this on Facebook a couple weeks ago. She said all the posts on Facebook and the new talk about 7 bodies found and mention Ivy and Brittany, but no mention of the other 4 found. Those other 4 were my daughter Holly and her children Riley, Michael, and Tiffany. My heart goes out to Ivy and Brittany's families, but they were not his only victims. My daughter loved her children, and yes, she married the man who killed them, but she was fooled by his charm. I don't think so. No. I think they had the same type of charm. I think they had the same type of charm. They were drawn to each other. She sought him out. I'm not getting around that. She sought him out. %, she did. All right, let's get to it. If your jaw wasn't already on the floor, it's going to be further on the floor because I cannot make this shit up. No. In my wildest imagination, I cannot make this up. No way. Corey Reeves says, match made in hell. And you know where they're at right now. You know exactly where they're at right now. They're burning up. Let's look at this.
The prison chapel was used for this guy's marriage. The chaplain of the prison conducted the marriage, and the sheriff's assistant was the witness to a sex offender's marriage to a woman with 3 kids. And
okay, we're going to have to listen to this again. The prison chaplain married them. The prison chaplain married them. A sex offender marrying a woman with children. Don't forget, Holly was trying to bring her kids to the jail to meet him. Look at this again. Beigefield is about to lose her mind.
The deception is just starting to make me sick. Right? Yesterday, Brian, it was the prison chapel was used for this guy's marriage. The chaplain of the prison conducted the marriage, and the sheriff's assistant was the witness to a sex offender's marriage to a woman with 3 kids. And you...
Okay. She's talking fast because she's excited. The sheriff's assistant was the witness to the marriage. The prison chaplain married them. My God.
Who tried to get a hold of this chaplain? What happened?
We did. We wanted to talk to the chaplain. I had called him yesterday and left him a voicemail, didn't get a response. You mentioned
he's got a lot of mosquitoes around him. That's probably the only reason that he's wearing a jacket, because it was hot as hell last night.
I mean, no one wants to talk when it comes to this case. No one. But I thought maybe since it's a chaplain, he would open up to us, share something, let us know why he performed the wedding ceremony, what he knew about Jesse McFadden and Holly. Take a look. We went to his house. He actually lives about an hour from here in Tulsa.
What is he? Okay. News Daddy said, I thought him being a chaplain, he would want to talk to us. You ever met an Oklahoma Baptist before? They pride themselves on not knowing shit.
And went to the door. They were watering the lawn there. There was clearly someone home. Knocked on the door, trying to talk to chaplain Kenneth Farnham, but no one came to the door, Ashley. And I also did get a text from him that just said, no comment, period.
No comment, period. You think that chaplain's gonna talk? He united a woman with children with a sex offender. You think he's gonna talk? No.
And that was it.
Well,
So apparently we
gosh.
are not going to be hearing from the chaplain.
Well, maybe not this way, but he better answer someone as to why he legally married a sex offender to a woman with 3 teenagers and didn't sort of red flag that and let it happen at the prison chapel. And then there's that witness, the sheriff's administrative assistant, who also is in charge of registering sex offenders. That's what she's supposed to be doing for a living. That's what her LinkedIn says. So her son is a sheriff's deputy. He made the only on-site compliance check for Jesse McFadden. What did the sheriff's department say about all this when you went to knocking?
Well, first of all,
when you went to knocking, listen to that lingo when you went to knocking. Okay, so this is so convoluted and so confusing. The prison chaplain married Jesse and Holly, okay? The sheriff's assistant was the witness. Her son is a deputy with the sheriff's department. Her son, the sheriff's assistant, her son, the deputy, made the one and only check on Jesse. What the hell, Okmulgee? There are areas of Oklahoma that I've ragged on for years. Okmulgee has now taken the crown. They've taken it.
We've been trying to talk to the sheriff's department for quite some time. I have been, your team has been. Yesterday, we were trying to get to the bottom of what was going on with the sheriff's assistant who, is in charge of the sex offenders. And also, her signature is also on the marriage license. Really is there something we're missing here? Just wanting to understand it. So I went to the sheriff's office today. We've called and called and called and called. This was sort of a last result. And this is what happened.
No, let me check. Your name is what?
I can give you a card if you want.
That'd be great.
Is it? Oh, it's open under here.
Yeah, it's open.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been.
Seat out there?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we basically sat out in the waiting room and waited. A man came out and wasn't happy that the camera was there, said that they weren't going to be commenting. I had given them my business card, and he essentially just gave the business card back to me.
Wow. Didn't even accept your business card.
Yeah, no, didn't. I still got the card. Didn't take the card.
Well, that's something. Okay.
Didn't even take News Daddy's business card. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? At least give him a comment. He's right outside your door, and you leave that poor receptionist to deal with it? Whew. My goodness, old Mogi.
Again, I don't always expect that law enforcement is going to, work with us when there's a horrible, disgusting, foul crime. But when they have been screwing up, I think they have some answers that we deserve as citizens, and that community deserves answers as to why all that evidence was left behind after the sheriff's department just cleared out. Nothing to see here. And by the way, if you want it, go ahead, take it home, was what one of the victim's family members was told. Just despicable. Okay, one last question. Raymond Paget, the landlord, all this new information that he wasn't legally allowed to rent that property, that he was so callous to these family members, get your things and get out of here, right? These are family members who lost their children to a rape and murder of a sex offender in a mass murder suicide. It just defies logic that anyone would treat anybody else like that. But you had actually asked that question of Ivy Webster's father and grandmother, Ivy Webster being one of the sleepover girls who was murdered. And they had something to say about that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. This is something that they have been questioning and concerned about since the very beginning. Something to them did not make sense with this landlord situation. How Jesse McFadden ended up here, he was able to rent the place. So when the paperwork emerged showing that the farm behind me, that the house behind me was in a receivership and that it was not allowed to be legally rented, they sort of could believe it because something didn't feel right, but at the same time they couldn't believe it. They have questions. How was he here? Why was he here? Who was he paying? If there was no lease, how did all of this happen? This is what they told me. Well, it just seems like it may have been like sort of a backdoor deal rental.
Well,
Yeah.
that's clearly what it is if he's not supposed to be renting out that property.
I wonder if there's even a lease or anything.
From my understanding is there wasn't.
There was
a
they were
backdoor deal.
caretakers.
And they were caretakers of the property.
Yeah, there's no lease. I had some people coming after me the other day saying some channel was showing the lease documents. There's no lease. You see, when you're someone like Jesse, you got to go stay with your mama. You cannot go and rent a property because they do background checks. So you either have to be prepared to get your credit up to snuff and buy property, or you got to go live with Ladonna. Care workers is what they were. Now, the landlord, who isn't technically even a landlord because he wasn't allowed to rent it out, he was around this property. We've had a lot of questions about the landlord the last few weeks. He was cleaning the horse pens before this murder. Now, may I ask you this? Why would you clean a horse pen when there's no horses? So what was he really doing there? What was he really doing there?
And what I'm confused about is if he's not supposed to be renting out those properties, where is the connection that brought Jesse to that house? If he can't list it as a rental, how did Jesse get in contact with the property owner to be able to know he could lease that house from?
Because people like Jesse know people like Jesse. Mark my words. People like Jesse know people like Jesse. They help each other. They're connected. They have the same interests, if you know what I mean. That's exactly how this went down. You see, I don't know anybody like Jesse. I wouldn't know anybody like Jesse. The connection is someone like Jesse knows someone like Jesse. It's a kindred spirit they have.
right, but at the same time, they couldn't believe it. They have questions. How was he here? Why was he here? Who was he paying? If there was no lease, how did all of this happen? This is what they told me. Well, it just seems like it may have been like sort of a backdoor deal rental.
Well,
Yeah.
that's clearly what it is if he's not supposed to be renting out that property.
I
Is
wonder
that-
if there's even a lease or anything.
From my understanding is there wasn't.
There was
a
they were
backdoor deal.
caretakers.
And they were caretakers of the property. And what I'm confused about is if he's not supposed to be renting out those properties, where is the connection that brought Jesse to that house? If he can't list it as a rental, how did Jesse get in contact with the property owner to be able to know he could lease that house from the property owner?
Thank you for watching. Go to
And let me tell you something now about people like Jesse. And I am not trying to add insult to injury to the families of Ivy or Brittany, but they know what parents pay attention and what parents don't. If you notice, we don't have a flock of parents talking to news daddies saying, oh, my kids used to go over there all the time. I didn't see anything weird. No. They know how to pick their victims. Again, I am not picking on Ivy's family. I am not picking on Brittany's family. But people like Jesse, they know whose mama and daddy is paying attention and whose mama and daddy is not. And I'll tell you how else he knew, because Holly helped him. She knows those mannerisms as well. She knows them as well. It's beyond sick. It's beyond disturbing. I don't even know what to make of it. Hello, Debbie. All right, so Ladonna, Jesse's mama, who I believe it was last week, said she's heartbroken over this. Was she heartbroken when Jesse was sentenced to prison for what he did to Crystal Strong? Was she heartbroken when her son Cody put a woman in a dog cage, tortured her, and put jumper cables on her? No. See, she's got a little bit of a bitch to birth here. And we're going to get into it. Because Ladonna, a lot of the blame lays with her. Now, obviously, the sicko is Jesse. The sicko is Jesse. His Bonnie to his Clyde, Holly, definitely has some blame. But his mama, she knew things were not good. She knew her son had no business being around children. No business being around children, women, dogs, air ferns. I wouldn't give him a spider monkey with rabies. Well, look who's here. Steve Beasley made it back. We have missed you, my friend. Look at that new avatar. Look at that. Our friend Steve is in. Welcome back, Steve.
So let's start with Jesse McFadden's mom. Ready for this? Sheriff's investigator told a judge, this was in a request for a search warrant, that Jesse McFadden called his mommy on the evening of April 30th and talked to Ladonna McFadden, that's mommy, about killing himself. Ladonna McFadden told a reporter, like a couple days later, after the massacre, the mass suicide that he committed, and then the mass murder suicide. She said to the reporter, "My heart is breaking for the victims. I don't understand it. I never, ever would have expected anything like this." And yet she told.
The hell is she talking about? She would never expect anything like this? Okay. Hang on, Ladonna. Hang on. So you expect your son to our minor children. You expect your sons to restrain, kidnap, torture, but you didn't expect any of this? And now you're heartbroken? You didn't expect this? Uh-uh. I'm sorry, Ladonna. I'm not buying it.
The sheriff's investigator that monster called her on the evening of April 30th. Like this. And yet she told the sheriff's investigator that monster called her on the evening of April 30th, talked about killing himself. So that's pretty new.
April 30th, Jesse called Ladonna and said he was going to S himself. No harm, no foul, okay? No one's going to be grieving for Jesse. Extra AF said hogwash. It is very rare that family doesn't know there's pedo behaviors. Of course Ladonna knew. Of course Ladonna knew. He called his mama the night before. Said he was thinking about checking out of the hotel early, if you know what I mean. What did Ladonna do? Nothing. Knowing there are minor children around him.
Pretty shocking. Also, some other exclusive information tonight. That Oklahoma farmhouse that was being rented to Jesse McFadden by a landlord named Raymond Paget. Raymond had no legal authorization to rent that house because he was in an ugly divorce with his estranged wife, and that thing was in receivership, which meant he wasn't supposed to rent or collect rent of any property, let alone this one. So this was an illegal rental.
Well, what do you know? Criminals commit crimes. You think they care about something like a pesky lease or who can rent to who? That's the least of our worries here. Y'all's daughter said, yes, I heard the other son is out. Have not seen the receipts, though. It's on the ODCR. His charges are dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. I suggest they find the proper jurisdiction, charge him, and arrest him.
Did he know that he was renting illegally to a guy who's a sex offender with teenage kids that were going to live in the house? Is there a reason why he callously demanded, get your stuff and get out of here, to those victims' family members who came to figure out what happened? Paget has quite a criminal past himself, it turns out. Assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, domestic abuse, all in April of 2012. And then in January of 2006, another assault and battery. All right, there's that. Then there's Holly. What did Holly know before? And what could she have done to change what happened to her and her family and those two visiting kids? What?
I can answer this question. What could Holly have done? Well, Holly could have maybe gone on a date with a nice man. Maybe been nicer to Joe, who by all appearances seems to be an upstanding dude. But instead, she shopped for strange in the prison. That's what she was into. That's what she likes. There's a lot of things she could have done different. Like, don't marry Jesse. This whole story about this actress convincing her that none of this happened is a lie.
Well, it turns out that she did a few deceptive things in her past. When she was getting a divorce from her previous husband, Joe Guess, they filed documents that said there are no minor children of the marriage and none are expected. Problem with that is that the divorce notice was December 2021, and they'd been married for 13 years. And Holly had a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 17-year-old. So there's a real good chance that that little Tiffany at 13 was theirs.
Yeah, I can do the math too. All right. Now, again, I'm not trying to pick on Joe, but did Joe not get copies of his own divorce paperwork? Did Joe not know? I mean, come on.
And there is a chance as well that Michael at 15 was theirs as well. Why would they lie? She'd already moved in with the sex offender. Was this a possible reason to lie? You don't say anything about us having kids, and maybe you can get out of child support. I don't know. Maybe. But they lied, both of them, on that divorce.
Thank you. That is crazy. So when she tells Joe, we're going to get this divorce and we're just not going to mention our children, so then you won't have to pay child support and I can move along and marry this sex offender. Now, I don't think she proposed it to Joe like that, but I guarantee her saying that way you don't have to pay child support came into the conversation. I promise it did. I 100% promise it did. And he went for it. He fell for it. But we know what was really going on. She had other plans. And those plans were to marry Jesse McFadden. Let's look at this. This is when Joe spoke out.
Such an unbelievable story. Just the facts alone, let alone what we're learning just tonight on this program. I am joined now by Joe Guess. He is the father of the youngest victim, 13-year-old Tiffany Guess. He has his friend Sunny Summers with him for moral support. Joe, I am just so sorry for you and what your family is dealing with and going through. Have you heard any more information or details from authorities about this crime?
No, I've got one phone call, and that phone call was yesterday saying they found 7 bodies, and that's the only thing I've heard.
Who was it that made that phone call?
It was some investigator down there at the property, but that's all I know.
Now, I can tell you right now, he is upset. He is upset. But in this interview, he doesn't mention anything about their divorce being fraudulent by saying there was no children between them. Were they all someone else's children? We do know that Tiffany use the last name Guess. So you would have to at least mention one of the children, would you not?
And an investigator was able to inform you of the fate of your daughter?
They said just 7 victims. They didn't tell me who it was.
How did you find out?
Facebook, the news online, and Holly's mother finally said or posted that it was the kids when they said on there confirmed.
So you've had no outreach, no contact from authorities in any way, even just for emotional support in this terrible crime?
No, not at all.
I am so sorry to hear that, Joe. Did you know anything about this perpetrator, this stepfather of Tiffany's, Jesse McFadden? Did you know anything about his history as a registered sex offender and as a rapist?
No, because my daughter would not have spent a second in the house. I would have brought the whole damn police force with me, or I would have dragged him out by the nape of his head.
Holly never mentioned anything at all to you about this?
No, the only thing we ever talked about was at the beginning of their relationship. We had an understanding that no one would be around the kids unless we both agreed upon it, and we did a background check, and we were okay with it. I asked if there was a background check. She said yes, nothing was there.
So
she said yes, nothing was there. Now, it's safe to say, and I'm not picking on Joe, that he didn't do his due diligence, because there definitely was something there. I believe he is brokenhearted. I believe he is very upset. But he didn't check for himself. Taking Holly's word, the woman who is denying having any children in your divorce paperwork cannot be trusted. The woman who is scratching up strange in the prison, you can't take her word for anything. You cannot.
You were lied to about the background, because as we're learning now from the children's grandmother, Jan Mayo, Holly did find out about the criminal background, but unfortunately, this
she was lied to
beast,
herself.
Jesse McFadden hired an actress to lie to her to say that she was the rape victim and that it was all a misunderstanding.
Okay, this actress never happened. This whole she was lied to herself. No, she wanted the prison strange. She wanted that. Hello, Amanda.
Hi. Another thing is, Holly ain't so innocent, because guess what? If she would lie about her kids in that situation, what else is she lying about? What else did she cover up for Jesse? Why lie if you have nothing to hide?
Like we said on the show yesterday, scratch a lie, find a thief. You lie and you lie and you lie because it's the old David Copperfield magician show. Look over here so you don't see what I'm doing here.
And we've been calling out stuff over and over again where everybody wants to stick their damn heads in the sand and, oh, let's wait for the police. Well, damn, we didn't have to wait for the police to hear this shit.
No, we're helping the police out. Thank God for us. True Crime with Shannon said Holly lied to everyone, in my opinion. Yes.
Amen.
She did. V. Oakley said her lies about the kids and searching out Prison Strange got them all killed. Exactly. Dolores, deflection, deflection, and deflection. Her dream man likes jumper cables, bungee cords, Brinks locks, and I feel bad with Joe sitting next to Don Wells' doppelganger, but he
Yep, he does look like him.
did not do his due diligence. He didn't.
Standing. Do you think that's why Holly didn't tell you?
I don't know. I know that from the bottom of my heart, I know that if any one of them would have told me anything, I would have been there. Period. I'd have been there. I don't care. Ex-wife not. I'd have been there.
What was your last communication with your daughter, Tiffany?
It was last Thursday. I talked with her a little bit. As I was talking with Holly, the kids were talking to me in the background. All the kids. I don't care. The older two aren't biologically mine, but I was there since Riley was 1, and Michael James wasn't even born, and we were married 13 years.
Those are all his kids. They all look to him as daddy.
So this is an additional blow. I didn't know that. I didn't know you had a close relationship with the other kids, Riley and Michael, and you had a chance to speak on the phone.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even a few months ago. Me and Holly were still talking about possibilities of me going through the legal system and still adopting the older two.
Even though she had married Jesse McFadden?
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts as to why she might have been thinking that you could adopt the children when she was married to someone else?
Because we've been working on it for over 10 years.
They loved him. They didn't look at nobody else as their daddy.
Okay, several of you in here, and my hat's off to you, have adopted children. And no one, and I mean not one of you, and I'm not going to call anybody out by name because that's your business. No one has ever told me that it took you 10 years to get it done. The longest I have heard, which doesn't mean anything just because I'm the only one that heard it, is about 18 months. 10 years? Holly was, she was pretty good at keeping Joe spun up. Bonafide said maybe 2 years, maybe. And I don't understand why the Don Wells lookalike, who's saying he was their daddy, why didn't he look up Jesse? You're telling me not one person ever looked Jesse up?
And he just went by the word of her mouth that she looked him up.
And there was nothing there. Yeah, there is. There's everything from drinking under the age of 21 to bad checks to trespassing to the big R word. It's all there. Would she look on Facebook? We don't do background checks on Facebook.
Here's their daddy right here.
They came to me the last season of during track and was like, Dad, we know you're not our biological dad, but we don't care. You're our dad.
So Riley and Michael called you dad as well?
Yes.
I am just so sorry for what you're going through. This is just, it's such a tremendous, I mean, it's an unimaginable loss that what's happened. At this point, do you hold anyone responsible for having let Jesse McFadden out of prison? It looks like 3 years early, while a crime had been committed in prison, a crime that was similar to the crime he committed that got him into prison.
Yeah, he never should have been let out. The legal system completely failed. And not to mention, where's the sign? Where's the pink light? Where's all the indicators of somebody that's supposed to be a registered sex offender?
Somebody dropped the ball. Joe was kept in the dark. He didn't know anything about this guy's past. We didn't know anything about this guy's past until yesterday when it started popping up. And we're learning more and more about it in real time right now on the interviews you're doing, that people that knew about it, but yet for months and kept it privileged to their little circle and didn't tell Joe anything about it.
I imagine it might have been new information tonight that this sex offender had hired an actress to tell your ex-wife and the mother of your kids that there was no sex offense at all, that she was the pretend victim, and that it was all a misunderstanding.
That didn't happen. Stephanie Morrison says, want to adopt kids you don't have on divorce papers? Strange. Evil CJ
That's
said,
another weird. Sorry.
oh no, go ahead, babe.
That's another weird thing to me. If he was going along with her saying, hey, let's don't mention the kids, it just makes me question a lot of things about him too. He's saying all this after she's unalived about, there's just something about him too that ain't drawn right with me somehow.
And I wouldn't have said it a week ago, but now knowing this, that they went in front of a judge, got their divorce, and pretended like there was no children between them. No.
Yeah, I was feeling something about him. I don't know why, but now that this surfaced, it even makes me side-eye him even more about certain things.
And if this was all about child support, you went through all this to save yourself a monthly check? That's it? You went through all of this?
Yeah.
So your wages wouldn't get garnished to get a quicker divorce?
And now all of a sudden he's crying near a wannabe Don. And then all of a sudden his friend Don's trying to get him money. So that's funny. You didn't want to help take care of your kids and you wanted to lie. But now, oh my gosh, poor me. While you're sliding your hand out for money.
So you
think about it.
Yeah, you deny that a child that has your last name and was conceived while you were together, Tiffany would be his child. I don't know about Michael and Riley, but Tiffany is definitely his child. And you say there's no children between us. It's a wonder he hasn't been arrested for going through this divorce and not reporting the children. He has a lot
So
of
no wonder why you didn't go. Oh, sorry.
No, girl, you're fine.
No wonder why he didn't go. No wonder why he didn't go do his own background check, because he didn't really care, because he wasn't having to pay child support.
Yeah. Kenny says what? The mother didn't apply for child support and you are attacking him? There's no such thing as applying for child support. You get a divorce and a child support order goes into the divorce. They got a divorce and said there's no children. So there was no child support order in their divorce. They denied having children. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. And then she tells Joe that she did a background check and there was nothing there. But Joe didn't do his own. If you don't know how to look up records in your area, that's one thing. But everyone knows how to use Google. Jesse McFadden could have been found on Google easily. And people, even in Oklahoma, do not get put in jail. They don't get sentenced to 25 years because an actress made up a story. There was substantial medical evidence as to what happened to Crystal. And I know Crystal was not the first victim.
I never knew.
And he
Holly
could have
found out
easily
anything, and
asked
I never knew
somebody.
about a lie. I never knew about portraying nothing. I never knew about any of it.
When they found out what
Is
the
there
public
anything?
record was, and they knew
Go ahead.
that he was a sexual offender, and they knew that he had been in jail for all those years for rape, somebody should have told this man so he could protect his daughter and his kids. All three is his kids.
What would you like, Joe? What would you like us to all know about all three of those kids, Riley, Michael, and your daughter, Tiffany?
Well, they were taken from me too soon, but the best moments of my life. My oldest Riley was amazing, great artist. All the time asking if she could just draw me something. My son, always excited about showing me a new video game and talking for hours about video games and engineering and building this and building that. My youngest, straight A student, most amazing, sweet, kind person. Doesn't matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, she'll come running and jump in my arms. Daddy,
Track
and
star.
I'll never get it again.
Daddy's girl, track star. Fun-loving kids, man. Fun-loving, good kids.
Oh,
It's
we're
a shame.
looking at the pictures. We're looking at the pictures of them, and they really are beautiful children. And I am just so sorry, Joe.
Tiffany looks just like Joe. Just like Joe.
For your loss. My heart goes out to you tonight, and I hope you learn more information from the authorities in the coming days. And Sonny, thank you for being there for Joe, for his moral support. Again, our thoughts and our prayers are with you tonight, both of you.
Joe is going to lose it. Joe looks like he's about to come undone. And I get it. I get it 100%. But here's the thing. Life doesn't give us many second chances. And when we don't do our due diligence, shit can go sideways real quick. Now, if I say, listen, I looked at everything I knew how to pull up and there was nothing on there. Nothing. But I know I did it. Then that's a different story. We lost Amanda again. We got a bad connection. Lisa Durr said this man and his daddy could have checked him out for themselves. Let's just take a poll. Who would take their ex's word that their new boo is A-okay and that they checked everything out? Who would take their ex's word and believe them? You're already, dirty shit's already gone on because you're getting a divorce. You're already signing paperwork that says you have no children to get you out of having to pay, what, $200 a month, $300 a month? I don't know. Juicy Tequila Bobo said, hell nah, I'm checking for myself. Alibi said they're an ex for a reason. They're an ex for a reason. Steve Beasley said never. Never. You're going to take Holly's word for it? gotta be kidding me. This is beyond crazy. And the excuses and the I didn't know and I was told, don't work with me.
Nope. And always saying, well, until the police or until this person, you're trusting the same damn police that didn't even want to look in the house and see what was going on there. Oh, they're dead. They're unalive. So guess what? We're done here. And it makes you wonder who all is involved, in my opinion, at the police station. You're having your own son go out there and checked on him, and I'll guarantee you, they allowed Jesse to use his mom's address for where he was living.
Oh,
I'll guarantee you.
Ladonna has got her name stamped all over this. Ladonna's all over this. The prison chaplain married this sex offender and this woman with children. This woman was bringing her children to the jail to meet their new daddy. The sheriff's assistant was the witness. Her son is the deputy that did the one check on Prince Charles and Lady Di of Okmulgee.
Hell, and in my opinion, every single buddy who allowed this man to be able to get married, be able to be around kids, looked out for a sex offender, they should be gone for involuntary manslaughter. Everybody involved should be in a jail cell or in freaking prison. For covering up for this piece of shit.
Hot Mess said his mother definitely helped cover this, and I think she should be charged. I think she should be too. I think the mother should be charged. I think you better figure out something with that landlord because he illegally rented property that's not even his. You better dig into this sheriff's assistant. This chaplain needs to go back to Rhema Bible School and learn the Bible.
The secretary and her son,
they need to be gone. They need to be gone. And I totally understand that they want this whole situation done and buried, no pun intended, but it's not going away. This in Okmulgee County is so deep-seated, and you want to do all this backwoods shit? Well, guess what? Every day's a new day. And everyone's figuring you all out. Get rid of them all. Get rid of them all.
And people need to damn stop pouncing around like they're going to break an eggshell if they damn speak and say what the truth is instead of waiting for somebody to damn tell them what it is. You see it in your freaking face, speak it. All these wusses out there too afraid to speak for their damn self. Open your damn pie holes. And shit like this wouldn't happen. That's my opinion.
I'm just so sick of the damn excuses. And if I find one more creator bashing on me because I'm not respecting Holly, well, they can kiss both sides of my white ass.
Hey, they can kiss mine too.
Yeah. It's not spray tanned yet, so it's white.
Go worry about your own damn channel.
My God. Who can take up for that? Sarah Adams, birthday girl, said, I'm available as a bodyguard, Brooks.
You got plenty of them, Brooks. You know you got me.
I got you, girlfriend. Shannon said, same here. Brooke said, tell him. You know, that's the reason we have to hang with ourselves around here. Just Me said, stand a solid line. I get so sick of that shit. I get so tired of that. Always making excuses all the time. And I understand hindsight's a bitch, okay? What happened yesterday, we're sitting there going, oh man, if that wouldn't have happened, I get it. I get it. I do. I get spilled milk. I get insult to injury. I get it. But this is different. Everyone had an opportunity to know what Jesse and Holly were into. Snazzy says kids were old enough to tell the judge which parent they wanted to live with. This guy is a deadbeat. Women pick men of similar caliber. There is a reason those kids didn't tell this dad what was going on. Thank you for
Amen, Snazzy. Amen.
Snazzy. Whew. Listen to that again. The kids were old enough to tell the judge which parent they wanted to live with. This guy is a deadbeat. Women pick men of similar caliber. They do. There is a reason those kids didn't tell this dad what was going on. Facts. Facts, Snazzy. Facts. Just like that. Woo. My God. I just can't believe News Daddy was wearing a jacket last night. It was muggy as hell. God. But he was
You didn't want them freaking critters.
No, and I could see the mosquitoes like were swarming around his head and everything. And like I said, he was going around knocking on doors. OJ and I were home. We were making Mexican lasagna. I don't know why he didn't come see us.
I know. You would have opened the door.
Yeah. Would have been like, come on in. I got a lot of stuff to tell you. I got a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. Let's talk. I got all day. Grab that pan, News Daddy. We got things to do.
So the
I hear
marriage
ya.
license business is so troubling. The fact that a prison chaplain presided over the wedding for these two, even though he was long sprung from jail, right? And then that one of the sheriff's department employees who lists sex offender registration as part of her LinkedIn, and we're assuming they're the same people. It's the same name, right? What did the
He wasn't even in jail anymore, but he was so chummy with the prison chaplain, he got him to marry them. Now, let me tell you, him being the prison chaplain, he has been counseling him for quite some time. He knew what he was in there for. And him being a Oklahoma Baptist minister, he knows the fire and brimstone. He knows those people can't be cured. He knows they cannot be cured. So why would he put his seal of approval on this union?
Everybody must be greedy in that area because maybe it was the money. Let me look away so I can get some money for marrying these people.
Oh, yeah, there was some cash involved for sure. So, I mean, how much of a donation or tithing did you get to do this? Snazzy says, we have flying, blood-sucking pterodactyls in North Carolina. Damn. Damn. Good morning, Kiki. Good morning. Dirty cash. Dirty cash.
Yep.
Ivy's family have to say about that?
Very, very troubled, very, very confused. Something is not adding up to them. The fact that it was the sheriff's office chaplain who married Jesse McFadden and Holly. and that it was the sheriff's secretary, who is also over the sex offender unit, who signed off as a witness. They don't understand it, and they're very, very confused. Listen to what they told me. There are some weird things that don't make a lot of sense, like the chaplain signing off on the marriage certificate and the witness being the sheriff's secretary. Have you been able to sort any of that out?
From my understanding, she's also, or the secretary is also the same person who is in charge of registering sex offenders as well. And the secretary is the one who's supposed to schedule visits and do all that. And it's a little confusing that the same person who's supposed to be in charge of the sexual registry and whatnot is the same people or person that's marrying and signing off on marriage certificates for sex offenders to marry women that they clearly manipulated.
Do you think the failures initially with not searching was it an oversight? Or do you think there's something more to it with what you're learning about the marriage certificate?
At this point, I think there's more to it. I don't want to call it a cover up. I think it was.
It is a cover up, and this is one of the many things that they did not want uncovered. This is one of the many things they did not want uncovered.
They already knew, and they just wanted to do a light investigation and say, yep, we found our guy. That's it. There's no other story here. But yet we now know there's a lot more to the story that they didn't want to investigate. And that is the question, why?
So they don't know the answers, Ashley. They wanted to clear something up. They're not getting additional information from the sheriff's office or from the state now investigating. They only know what we know. We're going to be on the ground here really trying to figure out this marriage license thing, because it's very, very strange.
All of it. Why they haven't given press conferences, why they won't answer questions from the press, why they blame the press for misinformation when all we've been doing is begging them to do their jobs and then tell us why they haven't and what is happening. It's been confounding to me. And then to see that there's a connection between law enforcement and this filthy beast is extremely upsetting. The other question I have real quickly, Brian, is that Henrietta, Oklahoma is a population of 5,600 people. That's little. I can't understand how that small of a community, how it can't be rampant information that that guy is a sex offender and he married Holly down the street with the 3 kids. How that isn't just all over the place.
Listen, I know it's surprising. You'd think in a small town, there are a lot of sex offenders around here, though. We've gone through the list. Justin Ivy's dad was telling me even after the murders, they were at their other son's kindergarten graduation. There was a sex offender, he says, in the audience. The principal had to come out and tell that man to leave, someone who they say had been at the school before. They believe if these murders hadn't happened, they wouldn't have even been noticing and tracking these guys the way they are right now.
Well, thank God someone did something at the school. Thank you for watching. Go to.
Look at Beigefield getting all sassy. What the hell? Britt Sadie says, might be the reason for the poor investigation in the beginning. For real. For real. Putting the link back up if anybody wants to come up. I mean, can it get any worse? Can this situation get any worse? My question is, well, I've got many. Who's going to be the first one to sue? Will it be Joe? Will it be Ivy's family? Brittany's family? Who is going to do it? Someone is going to jump in on this.
Now he's a trial attorney and the co-host of the Reasonable Doubt podcast with Adam Carolla. Geragos, something is rotten in Denmark here on so many levels. First of all, the cops are handing, Brian's card back to him, right? The sheriff's department, after they have miserably messed up from the get-go, right? Plus they end up on the wedding, roster as the chaplain and the witness, and then the witness's son is the first of on-site visit. He's a member of the sheriff's department. And then there's this landlord who has a criminal background as well, renting to a sex offender with 3 teenage kids. I don't know what recourse anybody has here, but I want to know why the feds aren't involved, or if they are, would it be quiet?
And that's a very good question. Amanda's having trouble getting connected in the background. Here she is. And here it is. Thank you, Miracle. If you pay them money, they won't come visit. Just saying.
Yep. All about the money. Greed.
Mm-hmm.
Just like yesterday. People want the money. And they'll hide their heads. And they won't say a damn word. And they'll let crap like this to happen because of greed.
So that one greasy deputy whose mama was the witness at the wedding, he went to check on him one time. What about all the other times? Because he was given some cash to go away. Here you go. Here's some cash.
Yeah. And I feel they're all accessory to all that happened there, because they turned away when they knew what he was about.
Yep.
The mom, anybody who knew, are just as guilty. And they need to be in jail. That's my opinion. And that's how I feel. They all need to be in damn jail.
They do. They do. That sheriff does not need to be the sheriff anymore. Joe Prentice does not need to be chief of police in Okmulgee anymore, even though this was in Henrietta, but he's part of the task force. These people do not need to be in law enforcement, period. This isn't how you run a county. I'm not saying that you step on people's necks every 2 seconds to keep them in order. But when someone is up to no good, when a woman with children marries an SO and gets the prison chaplain to marry them, and the sheriff's assistant is the witness, and her son, the deputy, is supposed to be keeping track of him, something's not good.
It makes you wonder if none of them were involved, in my opinion, over in that sickening home. Were they involved? Did they go over there and partake in what was going on in that home? It makes you wonder.
Well, Extra AF smells what you're stepping in, because she said, in my opinion, Jesse provided content that paid everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting for a few days for some of that to be coming out. Because every time we state something on the best channel on YouTube, we end up stating something, it ends up coming out.
Isn't that weird? It's almost
and
like
we don't need the police.
I know.
Yeah, we don't need freaking police to tell us shit.
Mm-mm. No.
And I hope y'all hear that in the background, other YouTubers.
It's like the broadside of a barn looking right at you.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to go deeper and deeper. Miracle said, wish I could sue him.
No, it wouldn't be quiet, at least initially, but I'll tell you, for anybody who ever wants to slam lawyers, let me tell you something. What will happen here? I'll make a bold prediction. There will be a plaintiff's lawyer that gets involved in this case and uncovers exactly what's going on, because your reporting, by the way, has put out so many data points that you could explore or go after, that it would be a field day. I mean, the idea that this guy has this property to begin with, the idea that he's calling his mother, the mother is not doing anything or alerting authorities, the fact that there are inexplicably, as you just mentioned, all of these phones, which the first thing you would do is try to preserve or get the records connected with those cell phones. And I'll bet you're going to find some other interesting information there. So some very
32 phones. And you're telling me that the powers that be in Okmulgee County weren't concerned about what those phones were being used for? You're telling me that they weren't worried that maybe one of their own hadn't been communicating with this pedo den? Hello, Kaleido. You're really telling me that they weren't concerned at all?
intrepid civil plaintiff's lawyer is going to unravel this thing, because it's clear that law enforcement's not going to do it.
We also know it's so hard to sue the government, right? But you have a prison system that let a sex offender out early after 85% of his sentence on what they called the credit system. He built up credits. Why don't those credits go away if you're, accused of committing crimes behind bars, which he was? And why did it take 6 years to adjudicate those crimes? It seems to me all of this would never have happened if somebody had had their eye on that ball.
Well, you bring up a very good point. I've got a case in California right now where my client's son was killed while in custody, and it appears that it was not kosher, if you will, that it was not the cellmate that it may have been. There may have been involvement by the authorities. What ends up happening is once you put people in prison, there's a very, very nefarious kind of network that takes place in prison. We've seen it. You covered a story. I did a story with you within the last year about some of these prison escapades that go on, and the idea that things get smuggled into prison, the idea that people have kind of alternative lifestyles while in prison, which is clearly what happened here. All of that is gonna come to the fore. You're gonna see that unwound or kind of revealed in the coming weeks. I'll give you some kudos thanks to your investigation and Brian's investigation.
Well, let's hope. I mean, these families deserve justice. And if, they hadn't been getting the investigation done themselves and then screaming from the mountaintop, I don't know that anybody would have cared. So, Mark Geragos, thank you for your wisdom. Always appreciate it and love having you on.
Thank you. Yeah. All those phones, all that evidence. The prison chaplain married them, and he wasn't even in jail anymore. So he was still connected with the people in the jail. Sarah said he was the breadwinner in his sickness. I agree. But she fed into it. That is crazy. That is crazy. Absolutely insane. Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker, said Jesse should have been transferred and held in county pending his contraband charge. Should have never been released. That is 100%. And their excuse for this was, well, we just can't jail somebody that hasn't been convicted. Bull hockey. You do it all the time here. There's tons of people awaiting their day in court. They're held on high bonds, no bond. But for some reason, Jesse was let out. Why would you let Jesse out? Unless he was feeding something. To the people that can keep him out. I don't know. Carol said, my phone is sucking today. It's raining. You got your umbrellas. Carol's making it rain. Welcome, new members. I just do not even know what to make of this.
So, Brian, first of all, I can't even believe I'm reporting out that stuff, right? Like, it can't write this. You honestly can't write this. The fiction would be, it wouldn't compare to the truth. But you had a chance to talk with the father and grandmother of Ivy Webster. She's one of Jesse McFadden's victims. I'm just so curious about what their response to all of this has been.
They're shocked. They're still grieving. They're angry. You see video here. I went with Ivy's dad out to a garden that they've built in their backyard where people drop by plants, where they remember their daughter. It's so eerie being out here, Ashley. It's dark out here. You can barely see the house behind me, but just behind me is the house where these terrible things happen. And we've been showing that video, the video from inside. That
Inton better be careful. I mean, he better be careful. He's going to wind up being a bowel movement in southeast Oklahoma if he keeps poking around too much.
That Ivy's grandmother, Shannon, shot with her cell phone. A lot of people don't realize that. It is Ivy's grandma who thought, when she went inside and started seeing these awful things, that she needed to record it with her cell phone. And she didn't only do it once. She went outside and they called the family attorney and said, what the heck is going on here? We don't think the police have even been inside this house. The attorney couldn't believe it and told Shannon, you need to go back inside and you need to get more video. So it was awful the first time. She had the bravery to go inside a second time to get that video that basically changed everything and opened the entire investigation all over again. Listen to what she told me about that. I mean, just going in that house, it doesn't take much to realize very quickly that things aren't okay.
No. And if they did their job, they would have seen that from the get-go. But they failed.
An eye hook and chain on a kitchen counter, that's not normal. Was it always there? Don't know. Was it put in when? I don't know. It was like walking into doom when you walked in that house. The smell was just, and it wasn't a cat box smell.
When the attorney told you to go back in to get more video, I mean, as a grandma, that must have been difficult.
I couldn't have my daughter do it again. I didn't want to do it, but I had to. I think that if we hadn't, we wouldn't have what we have right now. I stay awake at night thinking about it. Just adding another question to that list.
So you can imagine, again, Ashley, not only having to go in once, but having to go in twice. And thank goodness she did, because that's the reason really that we're standing here right now.
It's astounding that the victims are going to be the people who are ultimately the detectives that help to solve whatever still lies ahead in this crime. And there's still a story to tell. Those families deserve the story of what happened to their loved ones. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Well, and they do. And every single day, some days it feels like every minute, there is something more coming out. My God. How depraved can one couple be? I mean, my goodness. And how blind can people be? This isn't a regular old chain and Brinks lock. This is not something that you would buy at the Hobby Lobby. No. No, this is something Jesse and Holly made. This was installed by Tiffany's bed. These aren't things that you have around the house. Not at all. And even elephants at the Tulsa Zoo would feel this monster. The hell is going on there? Love you too, Carol. Slim said, no wonder Oklahoma's governor is silent. He's not showing up for the fire. He'll start talking once the smoke clears. Yeah. Patiently waiting. Today is May 17th. May 17th. Where's Kev? Where is Governor Stitt? He hasn't said anything about this. Nothing. And that makes me furious. I just voted for the bastard again in November. Where's he at? He was at ORU's commencement. Angel P, thank you. Thank you. Need a lot of umbrellas today for sure. Yeah, why can't he answer this? News Daddy needs to go to Oklahoma City and ask to talk to him. Go to OKC. Go talk to Kev. You can't miss him. Gotta be kidding me. I mean, you've gotta be kidding me. C-Star, truer words have never been spoken. Politicians always let you down. That's one of the things in this chat I cannot stand when people get into politics, because people start fighting with each other. But you're so right, C-Star. They always let you down. Always. Don't ever look up to politicians. Don't. Don't. They might say they're a good old boy that's just the local plumber and wants to go to Washington and do good. But once they get there in that Beltway elite, they realize the difference between them and us. I'm going to look at this video again of the inside of the house.
By now that Jesse McFadden took a gun and gunned down 6 people, including 5 kids, his wife, and then himself. And this.
Here's another thing, and I'm not here to argue with Beigefield. We don't know that Jesse McFadden was the lone gunman. We don't know. that Jesse was the Oswald of this situation, if you know what I mean? How do we know he's the gunman? How do we not know that Holly wasn't shooting too? See, because there was not a proper investigation. Did anyone check Holly for gunpowder residue? Did anyone check the gun for Holly's fingerprints? How do we not know? Good morning, Chris Melcher.
This was where presumably he was living, and not just part-time, because it looks like there's evidence of them living there a long time. This is the living room. So I do want to show you that there are some brand new angles and things that we've highlighted that we didn't see before. A lot of computer equipment that was not seized, wasn't taken, hard drives, etc., all around here. You can see evidence that would have plenty of DNA on it, maybe hair fibers, follicles, anything that could identify other victims, maybe other perpetrators, still sitting there for the families to videotape. Families. This is what's so frustrating, is that it's the families doing this. It's not the police. The police should have cataloged every single inch of that horror home, but it's the families doing it. Don't know if the police eventually went in, but it was after the families. So the up-close pictures show a lot of restraints. You've seen some of them before, but you haven't seen all of them. And with regard to the restraints, there are restraints not just in the floor, there's the bathroom, there's also restraints on the wall.
And there's this. Thank you, Kenny. A third party might have been there. Can we trust this investigation? Can we trust it? Can we trust that Jesse checked out of the embassy before checkout time, if you know what I mean? Can we trust it? No. No, we cannot.
There's a restraint on the kitchen counter. What are you doing? What are you doing restraining someone to the kitchen counter? Locks, padlocks, chains. And then we also have evidence from the families again that they moved a dresser and they found restraints in, behind a dresser, taped to the back of a dresser that the police were not interested in. They actually said to the family member, no, it's fine. Unless you want it, you can throw it out. Unless you want it. What's the family member going to do with a bunch of sex restraints in a sex torture dungeon? And why on earth would you not think that there's DNA, skin cells, something on Velcro restraints that were discovered behind a dresser? Again, family members finding all of this. Now let's go into the hallway, because in the hallway, I'm going to pause as we get down the hallway. I want you to take a close look at the door, because if you look at the hallway door to that closet at the end that has a chair in it, you'll actually notice that there is a deadbolt lock on the outside. Outside, meaning you can lock someone inside that room. Maybe that's why there was a chair in there.
Nothing to see here. The deadbolt locks people in the closet. Exactly. Annette said third party. Why'd Holly get 3 pops? Ladonna, maybe? Where was Ladonna? Where was Ladonna that day? Ladonna got the call the day before, April 30th, from baby boy, saying that he was going to S himself. Ladonna didn't do anything. Ladonna knew he had court the next day. Ladonna did not want her baby boy to go back to jail. I'm not accusing, just wondering.
But a deadbolt lock on the outside, keeping someone in potentially. Now I have video that we had not seen before of the girls' bedroom. That was something that made us very uncomfortable, because now knowing what the other rooms look like, this looked as though it was a regular teenage bedroom. It's just confounding to know that feet away are sex toys and and weapons and drugs and syringes and restraints, chains, padlocks to the floor, to the walls. There's clothes in the closet for teenage girls. There's bedding that's still there. Nobody decided that maybe any DNA might be on that bedding that could be tested. Clouds on the ceilings, just like a normal teenager would have. Posters on the walls, toys, clothing. How long had this house been a torture chamber and a sex dungeon? And how long had it been teenage girls and a teenage boy living there with their mom and their stepdad of the last year?
God. May says, okay, besides the sex off part, why kill them, Brooks? Your thoughts? Honestly, I don't know. We know Jesse had court that day. Jesse could have easily to not go to court. Jesse doesn't follow the law. Jesse doesn't care. Jesse could have hightailed it to Arkansas. Jesse could have hightailed it to Kansas. Jesse could have wound up in the boot of Missouri. Jesse could have gone down to Louisiana. It's not like anybody was after Jesse. So why didn't he just take off and evade the cops? I believe this was a pact between him and Holly. I believe the pact was because Holly knew she was about to get found out too. And that she couldn't have. Him being a scumbag is one thing, but she wasn't about to go down with the ship. This was a pact.
But this is just so uncomfortable to think it looks like such a normal bedroom inside that house of horrors. And by the way, those dungeony things were not hiding anywhere. They were right there in the living room. They were right there in the kitchen. They were right there in the bathroom. They were right there everywhere. The drugs, the needles, the marijuana chocolate, the drawer full of drugs and alcohol, all of it was right out in the open. It wasn't being hidden from the kids that were clearly living there. So you now have to wonder, what was life like for those kids? Did they just think that's normal? Or were they part of it? In the computer room, one of the things about this house is that there were just so many computers, just multiple computers. Maybe they were for innocent teenagers doing their homework, and maybe they were for filming and storing and shipping porn, snuff porn. Who knows? Nobody checked because the computers were all left behind. So were the hard drives.
Okay. There's no such thing as soft porn when it comes to children. So I have to disagree with Beigefield there. I also have to disagree with her when she says maybe the kids were in on it. Kids don't get to be in on things like this. They don't get to be in on it. They're placed in these situations. Just like kids don't, say, you know what? I vote for dad to get drunk tonight and beat mom up. Kids don't, they get placed in these situations. So no, the kids were exposed to it. The kids were victims. The kids were abused. The kids were restrained. The kids, I believe, were drugged. The kids, I believe, were violated. So she's wrong about this.
It's just unbelievable. To not just me, to the experts who've seen this, to the families who are gobsmacked by the fact that nobody wanted to check the keyboard for, DNA. Who was on that keyboard? It's unbelievable. There's a room with a lot of bags in it as well. And one of the things about the bags is that they were stuffed so full, it's hard to know what was in them. Could it be mementos, clothing, personal effects, belongings of potential former victims that came through that house? Hard to tell, don't know. Certainly the families were too nervous and worried about handling the bags look at all these bags up on the shelves. The families thought, well, don't touch them because the police surely will. Police left them behind. Didn't want to know. Could it be a missing child's clothing, personal effects stuffed into those bags and stuffed up on a high counter or a high shelf? Who knows? And then Michael's room, the teenage boy. Inside Michael's room, hunting equipment, bows, knives. Don't know if they belong to Jesse. Don't know if they belong to the teenage boy. Have they been checked for human DNA? Could it have been possible since Jesse McFadden murdered 6 people? Maybe he murdered someone else? Maybe. Is it such a far conclusion? They were left behind. No one checked. And then the white car outside the house. The white car that, vanished the day after the police were there. Here's a close-up. The families looked inside to get a peek at what was in that car. Word is now it was Holly's car, possibly taken by her mom, Jan. But shouldn't the police have this impounded? Shouldn't they be taking every single piece of trace evidence out of there? Maybe there was someone in the trunk at some point. Maybe Holly was a perpetrator. Maybe her husband, Jesse, used her car to kidnap kids. Maybe is a big word here. All this evidence left behind, and then suddenly the car is gone. Thank you for watching. Go.
And her mom has her car. Holly's mom has her car. My God. Well, nothing to see here, right? Forget about all the electronics, 32 cell phones. Her mom wanting the car. I know some people say, well, maybe the car was in her name. I'm really not going to get into title law right now. She has no business with it. That car could have transported children to their home. And we know what went on inside the home. You cannot tell me that they had this stuff laying around the home for a rainy day. No, it was used. And it was used on what Jesse is attracted to. And that would be underage girls. 100%. It's infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. Man. Bonafide said, it doesn't matter. It's a murder investigation. Oh, wait. What investigation? Exactly. My God. This is just too much. All right, guys. Well, I am going to shut this down, and I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Got another big show, a lot of stuff to talk about like we always do. Thank you for piling in here, having a great discussion, being the coolest chat, the coolest community on YouTube. Happy birthday to Sarah. Get well to Shonda. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning. Can't ask for a better group of people to spend it with. Thank you to everybody for the donations, for the gift memberships. You guys are what keeps this going. I love you so much.